Okay, this is Jen Hegna, Director of Information Learning Technology, and today I wanted to share another story from the high school classroom. Why don't you go ahead and introduce yourself, what you teach, and how long you've been teaching?
My name is Aaron Murray. I'm a high school health and phy ed teacher, and it's my second year at Byron.
Okay, give us a brief, big overview of what you did or what idea you had put into practice.
What I did was I had students create a PSA, a public service announcement, to raise awareness about a topic that they wanted to choose from, and it had to be within the domains of drugs, tobacco, or alcohol. And from there, it could stem from any other subtopic topic like drinking, driving, sexual assault, underage drinking, parents hosting parties, etc. Overdoses was another option. And then from there, the students had to reach out to an organization, a professional organization, and find a stat or some sort of a fact that they really wanted to project and teach in a way that they could create awareness and make a change for. So rather than just Googling, drunk driving incidents in 2013, they could go and say, they could call someone, they could email and say, hey, what is the most recent statistics, and what is a way that we could use to create a PSA that would reach students? And so they collaborated to create a PSA for not only the school, but using a professional organization to help spread their message.
Why did you go down this path and implement this idea?
I've done PSAs in the past where, like I said, students would take a stat or fact that they found online, but that kind of seemed like a dead end, and it almost seemed like the information was outdated by the time they put this out. So this time I really wanted them to work on a couple things, and that was connectivity in the real world and communicating with professional organizations, as well as using netiquette, which is a skill that they have to develop for higher ed as well, and then also to really utilize their full capacity to create collaboration projects and using technology to expand on just a PSA and making it something more of a collaboration between students, professional, teacher, and elsewhere.
Okay. And how did it go? What were your results?
I think it went really well. I had 3 presentations that were by far above my expectations that I could have asked for. I had some, run-of-the-mill ones, which is acceptable. But no one really failed the project. Everyone turned in something that I was, in a sense, proud of. And the 3 that went above and beyond really kind of reset my expectations of what I could expect for high school students for this sort of project. It really blew my expectations away.
And were they also in communication with the organizations? Will the organizations be planning on distributing their videos or sharing that out to their constituents?
Yes, from the first part of it was the students reaching out to the organizations, asking permission and to have an interview or some sort of conversation. After that, they also developed the PSA, but the last part of the project was to share it back with the organization as a way of saying, thank you, here's what we came up with, and is there any questions? And I had 2 big organizations reach back out to students and say, hey, we would really like this for part of our media team. Do we have your permission to share this and use it on our websites? So that was really big for the students to have that opportunity as well.
Excellent. How did this experience enhance or transform teaching and learning in your classroom?
It really made me as the teacher take the back seat and just more of a facilitator rather than one who was telling them what they needed to accomplish. It was very student driven. I gave them a set of criteria to meet, but it was ultimately up to them how they wanted to go about it. And so that was really interesting to see that transition shift away from me teaching to them just going about and doing it however they wanted, and then asking me questions if they were stuck or, oh, how can we do this differently? But for the most part, it was completely student-driven.
And were there any big challenges that you had to overcome, and are there any challenges that you still see, that you have today with it?
Because it was my first time doing it this way, it opened the door to more questions for me, but I think it's all challenges that I can really manufacture and kind of work the kinks out. One of the things was I had them send me 3 updates along the course of the project because it was 2 weeks long. So I wanted 3 updates either via Twitter or on email just saying, here's where we are, here's the steps we're at, or we're stuck, how can we get help? And having that communication piece was excellent. But over the course of 2 weeks, measuring each student's communication kind of became an overwhelming task. But after I got it graded and I did the responses to the rubrics and their feedback after they did the pre-assessment, it seems that was really beneficial for them. So I'm definitely going to keep that thought process open, but reformat it a little bit.
Well, I think giving them incremental deadlines to make sure that they get the final deadline too, I'd have to
Yeah.
guess would be something beneficial.
Yeah, definitely.
What did technology play? What was the role of technology, and could you do this project without it?
The role of technology, one for communication, just getting out, reaching out to the organizations was big, and learning the sense of netiquette in the aspect of technology. And you can't just say, you're not just talking to a classmate or a teacher, you're reaching out to the CDC or the National Institute of Health. You have to write a formal email and learning that. So they kind of self-taught that skill. I helped them along, but they did that. And then filming, the video editing was immaculate, the amount of work that they put into that. The iPads was a great use of that because it was an even playing field. Everyone had a tool, and everyone could collaborate through Google. The Google technologies is the biggest help, and then of course collaborating with like Twitter, giving me updates, and then sharing their PSA back with the world couldn't have been done just with a bulletin board in the school. It was sharing it and getting their work out in the world, which was really huge.
As you reflect on the experience, how has this experience helped you grow as an educator?
It just opens the door to more opportunities for me, and I think it changes my expectations of what these students are capable of when it's self-driven. And so it makes me want to take the back seat more and give them more freedom and opportunity, and just give them the guidelines and see what really they can do, rather than me being the front and center, putting them front and center and me backseat.
And where are you going to take this innovative idea? If I were to interview you 1 year from today,
Mhm.
and you have the same class or another, like, where would you take this? Where do you take this connected, student-driven learning?
Well, with all luck, I should be having this activity 4 more times by this time next year. So I'm hoping to learn a lot and grow from it. And I think for me, just having a way that the students can collaborate class to class and create a timeline, it's some sort of artifact that they can all establish and work together on, would be very interesting, so that students in my next year class can reach back and say, hey, what worked, what didn't work, and having some sort of experience building from each other. I think that would be something very cool to try out.
And the last question is, our vision at Byron Public Schools is learn, share, innovate, and inspire. How does this idea of yours align to our vision?
It definitely reaches out to the share aspect. I think the inspire aspect comes in with the students being able to pick their direction of how they wanted to take the PSA. And I think that because they had so much freedom and choice, that they really learned from their topic, which again is learning. And innovating, just because this is the first time that I've done this. This is the first time I've made my students step outside of the classroom and try to connect worldwide. So I think it hit all 4 domains: learn, innovate, share, and inspire.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.